Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. We are back today with an unexpected shoe here. I don't think anybody expected to see this. On Cloudflow 5. This is On's latest attempt at creating a, it's hard for me to say this phrase, super trainer. They put PIBA into one of their classic training shoes, which is a cool thing, and we'll see whether or not it's a shoe to consider. Now, if you're looking for a new shoe, maybe a training shoe, a long run shoe for the marathon, or one of your first trainers, maybe you're building your first rotation, you want something comfortable for getting that mileage up, you got to make sure you check out the Supple app. It's my app. It's the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace out there. We got hobby joggers everywhere who might get a shoe like this, or a shoe like the Super Blast, or a shoe like the A6 Nimbus. They put a few runs on it, it doesn't work for them, and then they list it on the app. So if you're looking to get great deals on shoes or join the best gosh dang running community out there, people getting after it, getting active daily, get in with us and enjoy today's video. This is a weird one, man. This is a curveball. We're coming through today with the On Cloudflow 5. I know probably not a lot of people expected to see this one on the channel. Also, I'm trying to get a beetle off of my front porch here. There we go. Yeah, not a lot of people probably expected to see this one on the channel, but it's Friday. In the words of Rebecca Black, it's Friday. Gotta get down on Friday, and I've never been so excited for a Friday, man. This week has been an absolute grind. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the summer with the heat. This said high of 96 today, by the way, so it's going to be another scorcher, but the training and the mileage just felt like such a grind this week. And it's crazy because I've been running 100 miles a week for nearly 2 years now, at least well over a year, but sometimes it just feels a lot harder than others. But that's the thing about running 100 miles a week. Man, it's not easy. It really is never easy, and especially when work stress pops up or other stuff pops up, it just gets harder. So yesterday, my Garmin told me to sleep and rest. It actually told me to sleep and rest again today, but if I slept and rest every time Garmin told me to, I'd probably be at 25 miles a week, and that's the difference, man. That's the difference with the high mileage training. We go, we get it in, we grind. I put up 22 yesterday, so we're out here again getting active. Now, On Cloudflow 5. What is this thing? This is On's attempt at making what people call a super trainer. It's On's attempt at making something like an Evo SL competitor, or at least a Speed 5 competitor. Now, in their lineup right now, they have the Cloud Monster Hyper, which is just wildly overpriced. This thing is $220, which is fine for a training shoe, except this one, it's a good shoe. It just doesn't reach up to the upper echelon of what a lot of these $200 shoes are doing. It's a more amped up version of the Cloud Monster, which, by the way, is a great shoe. What you get in the front here is a slab of PIBA foam polyether block amide, and then the rest of it is standard EVA. It's actually a nice ride, especially once you break it in and settle into it for longer runs. Really cushioned, really protective. Just a great shoe for going out there and running long. That's in contrast to something like the Evo SL, more of a speed-oriented shoe, slightly lighter weight. Also awesome, but I think it's more just, I don't know, the Evo SL has taken on this life of its own where it's now this almost status symbol product, but it's not a daily trainer in the same way that something like the Cloud Monster is or the Ultra Boost is. It's definitely more of a speed-oriented shoe. So the Cloudflow 5, much more affordable. This thing is, I think, with 170 or 180 versus 220 for the Hyper. They still are using PIBA, which is crazy. So it's going to be now competing with, let's see, boom, two of my favorite shoes, training shoes this summer to come out using PIBA, Brooks Hyperion Max 3. I ran this yesterday. This is actually what I did that 22-mile day in. I call this the mileage cheat code. It just makes it so easy to turn over the legs and stack miles. And then the Speed 5. This is a legendary shoe, man. It almost feels like a retro of the Speed 3. Soft, bouncy foam, lower to the ground, not super max stack, but just a cruiser. And this shoe right here is like the default in the speed training category. The Evo SL is starting to become that, but if you walk into a local running store and you want a speed shoe or you want your first race shoe, you might get laced up in a pair of Speed 5, and it really is just such a fun, enjoyable ride. Doesn't have the most supportive feel if you're a bigger runner. That's why something like the Hyperion Max 3 might be better, but two awesome shoes. These are really best in class right now when it comes to the speed training category. I'd throw the Evo SL in here as well. I would put it something like this probably. Most cushioned and protective in the Hyperion Max 3, or I guess we have to go like this from left to right. So least cushioned and protective in the Speed 5, feels the least substantial. The Evo SL is in the middle, more of an aggressive shoe, but the cushion here holds up better to time on feet than something like the Speed 5. Then we have the Hyperion Max 3, which is the tallest in this category, the most substantial, the most supportive, and the one that's going to do best for weight and power. So that's the landscape. Let's see if the Cloud 5 can hang. So what this guy is, hold on, let's get out of the box for bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. So what this guy is, it actually looks really good too. I don't mind this colorway at all. White with black and yellow. I like it. But what this guy is a dual foam training shoe. So on the top here, you get the PIBA. They call it the Helion HF. In the middle, you get the plastic plate, the speed board. And then on the bottom, you have the old school Cloud Tech firmer foam. So one of the things On has struggled with is just their perception with having these holes in the shoes. And you can see they've just gotten smaller and smaller. And especially in any of these training shoes that are or racing shoes that they're trying to make legit, they've minimized or eliminated them. If you look at the Cloud Boom Strike, hold on, let me actually go grab this. If you look at the Cloud Boom Strike, boom, you can see these little holes. Man, look how small they've made them. So On staked their reputation on these Cloud Tech units. You can see in a shoe like the Monster, they're bigger than ever. In one of these older school shoes, this is actually a shoe that I love. People don't know this, man. Some people might if you've been watching this channel, but this is the Cloud Stratus 2. I went through 2 pairs of this when I was just starting ramping up training in, 2022. And actually, Charlie got these, not this one, but a white and green pair for me as a Christmas present. Probably in my darkest, not darkest days of running, but lowest days of running, when I was just running once or twice a week, wasn't really into it. And then she got me a new pair of these, and that reinvigorated my joy of running. I actually went out for a 5K PR on Christmas Day because I was so excited. So this is actually a really solid shoe, firmer daily trainer, but good bounce, good rocker. It gets slept on because of the Cloud Tech, and there's also just so many great options out there. But I'll see people running in these, walking in these. Overall, awesome shoe. So these still do have the Cloud Tech units. And with this shoe, it looks like they're keeping some of what's on that bottom layer of these older shoes, right? Like the Cloud Stratus 2, they're keeping these holes alive. That's in contrast to, boom, take a look at this, the Cloud Boom Zone. This is their true speed training shoe. Again, they've basically eliminated the holes. These aren't actually even full holes. They're just windows on the side, similar to what Brooks does in the Hyperion Elite 5. You can see they stop right there. So that's not going to add much in the way of performance. But with this guy, you still do have the holes. I'm skeptical how much the holes make a difference when you have a firmer foam, because if you look at this Cloud Tech or the Helion foam on the bottom here, man, this is as firm as foams get in 2025. This is a really firm standard EVA. So yeah, you have the holes in there, but it's like, if you put a hole in concrete and then try to run in it, is that going to make a difference? I don't think so. Now, it's not that firm. You can see it's not as firm as concrete, right? When I push it in, it is going to compress, but it's not like you're putting a hole in PIBA or something that's super soft. So regardless, top layer of race foam, and you got a decent stack of it right here. So the top layer of the race foam, bottom layer of the standard training foam with the plastic plate in the middle. That is a common application of dual foam, very similar to shoes like the Boston 13, Hoka Mach X2, and Brooks Hyperion Max 3. Looks of it, honestly, looks really solid. They had some good colorways too. They had a grayscale one that I thought was pretty good, and then they had a Columbia blue with black that I thought was nice as well. This one popped to me the most, but it was ironic because people make fun of their holes but they've always been a brand that has good style. So the style is good, but then what makes them unique also gets them made fun of. But I guess that's the internet, man. If you do something different, you'll get made fun of. Anyway, let's get the specs. You know what's funny, man? What's funny? Oh, hold on. My scale isn't in the doctor's box here. I think it's inside. What I was going to say is, what's funny is that this shoe completely flew under the radar. Absolutely nobody has asked me to review it. I don't think anybody even knows it exists, but that's one of the things I like doing on this channel, just reviewing the shoes that I'm interested in and excited about. But if any other brand dropped a shoe with the dual foam PIBA setup, a Boston 12, Boston 13 competitor, people will be all over it. So I just thought this deserves some shine, even if it turns out to be not that great. I mean, it's dual foam with PIBA. It's cool that On is doing that. It's like if Nike put ZoomX or a real race foam on the top layer of the Pegasus, because this is very similar to On's Pegasus. This is one of their standard everyday shoes. Anyway, let's get some baselines for this category. So the shoes that I would mainly put this up against, I actually didn't bring this out earlier. I would put it up against the Boston 13. Now, this is an absolute legend. This is as real gets, 275 grams. This is the tank, man. This is a shoe you could race a marathon in if you wanted to. It's just truly a workhorse. Everything you need, nothing you don't. It's a great blend of technology and traditional elements, meaning it's lower to the ground, but it has the race foam with the rods. Now, of course, we have to put it up against the Hype King. Evo SL is the current one. This is 254 grams that everyone and their mama wants to get because it looks cool. And then I would also put it up against the Saucony Endorphin Speed 5, market standard in this category for a speed training shoe. So this guy is 260 grams. Now, if we look at On's own lineup, a classic like the Cloud Stratus, this comes in at 314 grams. So you can see on the heavier side, but it is more of a daily trainer versus a speed shoe. Then we have On's speed shoe here, the Cloud Boom Zone, and it looks like the Cloudflow is actually a combination, right? If you smashed the Cloud Boom Zone with the Cloud Stratus, you get the Cloudflow, and that would actually be a banger. So maybe this is going to be a banger. But 244 grams. The nice thing about a lot of On shoes is the stability. So almost all of their shoes have great stability. If you look at the Cloud Stratus 2, it has this plastic heel clip in the back. They're one of the early brands to get on this wave of adding stable elements into neutral shoes. And beyond the look, I actually think that's one of the reasons On has been so successful as a casual brand, because their shoes feel really good. They're supportive, they're stable, and they just work for walking. They do make some really comfortable shoes. Now let's put the Cloud Monster Hyper on the scale here. This guy comes in at 275 grams. So with that, let's get a check on the Cloudflow 5. I've got to say, does not feel like the lightest weight shoe. This feels closer up to the Stratus to me than the Hyper, but we shall see. Ooh, not bad. 293 grams. Anything below 300 for a training shoe is solid. Now, this doesn't have the highest stack. I can tell just by looking at it, but that is certainly not bad. Let's QA check it. So 293 on the left. On the right side, 291.8. Bang. Nice job, On. Dude, so the crazy thing with the Garmin is, if you get your morning report, did I already exit? Yeah, I already exit out of mine. The first thing you see, it says good morning. And the first thing you see, no, it's not the sleep score. It's not how recovered you are. You have to click down for all that, which is also great, or it could also be terrible if it tells you you're under recovered and got poor sleep. But the first thing you see is the weather. So every morning I've just been waking up and it tells me, good morning, today's high is 96. And it's okay, man, I know I'm going to be battling out there today. Gosh dang, can't catch a break. So yeah, it's another hot one. You can hear the cicadas. They're starting to ramp up here. It's the soundtrack of summer pain. But here's the thing. We got to keep pushing up on them, man. People cracking jokes at me because I was saying the Garmin was being disrespectful yesterday, but we still got the mileage, baby. That's the difference. That is really the only, it's not the only difference. We train smart too, but if you train smart and are willing to go to dark places, you'll turn yourself into a good runner, or at least a solid runner. I don't know. I think if I go sub 230, I'll call myself a good runner. I'll say I'm a solid runner at this point with a very strong work ethic. Anyway, stack check. That's pretty solid, man. 37 in the back. That's all you need for a daily shoe. It's not max cushion gang, but On has the Cloud Monster Hyper for that. They're also dropping, or they just dropped yesterday, the Cloud Surfer Max. Grant texted me and he asked me, are you going to get the Cloud Surfer Max? It's like, I don't know, bro. I have so many good shoes right now. It's like, do I waste a video on the Cloud Surfer Max, or do I just continue to run the shoes I like? But here's the thing. People just want to see new. So I'll probably end up just getting the Cloud Surfer Max, even though I hated the standard Cloud Surfer. With this shoe here, the Flow, I was actually excited about it. I thought it was cool and interesting. Cloud Surfer Max, I feel like I already know what that's going to feel like before even running in it. And there's just so many good max cushion shoes. I don't know. So if you guys want to see it, let me know. Anyway, Evo SL stack check. Look at that. Very similar. That's the same exact stack height. 37 and change in both the Cloudflow 5 and the Evo SL. How does that compare to the Cloud Monster Hyper, which is more of the long run shoe in On's lineup? My top long run shoe right now, by the way, Neo Vista 2. I actually just got Charlie a pair for her half marathon training block. But this one is slightly higher, 39 millimeters in the back of the Hyper. Let's get one more check. Let's see our old friend here, the Stratus 2. Let's see where this guy comes in. Absolute legend in the game. They're on to the 3 now. Wow, that's a lot lower than I expected. Look how high stacks I've gotten in the past few years. 32.8. So that's the cool thing about the Cloudflow. It's significantly lower than the Stratus, or significantly higher, 5 millimeters higher, and then significantly lighter. So this looks like it's going to be a competitive shoe on paper. It also looks pretty solid if you can get past the holes, but this could be a competitive shoe. The rocker is nice too. Look at that. Let's lace it up and see how it does. This is culturally inappropriate. I've been getting into the Clips album more. Everyone is telling me, you gotta get into it, you gotta get into it. But yeah, I've been sufficiently angry enough to get into it, because you just gotta be angry to listen to Pusha T. But yeah, Mike Tyson blow to the face just stuck in my head. That's a banger. It's a banger. But with the Cloudflow 5 here, this is a cool shoe because, like I was saying earlier this week with Saucony, it shows that On is listening to consumer feedback. Whether or not this turns out to be a great shoe or a terrible shoe, man, so many people, when the Cloud Monster Hyper came out, said, dude, you got to drop the price on it, and you got to give us more PIBA. Give us full-length PIBA. That's exactly what this is. This is a Cloud Monster Hyper with a full-length PIBA, and it also is the same PIBA compounder. Feels very similar to the one that's in the Boom Zone and the Boom Strike, which are both bangers, and they've made it cheaper. This is, what, $40 cheaper than the Hyper? So it just goes to show, man, some of these brands, the good ones, do a nice job listening to consumer feedback, and On has actually consistently done that. If you look at how they've closed up the holes on their training shoes, or their high-end training shoes and racing shoes, they're listening to what people are saying. But fit and feel of this guy, it is narrow. This gives me that Geppetto 5000 look. Can you see that at the front? It really has this triangular feel. Kind of odd, but the length is good. That's one of the things about the On shoes. They can run long. They fixed that here. This feels perfectly normal in my 10.5. The upper also is just slightly less baggy than before. So again, another issue that they fixed, even if the length was right. So some people in the past would go down half a size, but the upper still felt baggy. This feels more dialed. And small detail here. Look at this On logo. It's a TPU overlay. Before, it was screen printed or just printed onto the mesh here, and it would get distorted. And I was completely panning them for that, but they fixed that too. So they fixed a lot of the issues people had. Now, On step in here feels comfortable, but very firm. Almost Boston 12 levels of firm. So we'll have to see how this evolves once we run, but let's do a walk test here. Oh man, did they fool me again? Did I get sucked back into the fold again? No, this is a very firm shoe On step in here, but it's not designed to be a soft max cushion shoe. That is what the Cloud Surfer Max is for. So we should just see. I have to say though, On step in, I was expecting it to be softer, not because we need a soft shoe, but just because what I know about this foam here. It's softer in the Cloud Boom Zone. It's softer in the Hyper, or not the Hyper, in the Boom Strike. I'm not feeling a lot of that coming through on the walk, but you got to keep in mind, we have a plastic plate in the middle and we have the firmer EVA. So that could be deadening some of the softness here on the top layer. So On step in here, fit is good, nice rocker, the weight feels fine. It feels more traditional in terms of the firmness, but hopefully the rocker geometry tips it along, and we'll just have to see how this PIBA responds to some actual running, because with a race foam in here, this is no longer just a walking shoe or a casual shoe. They're trying to make this a legit running shoe. So with that, let's go get our miles in and see how this does. Pretty sure the last new On shoe that I reviewed this year was the Cloud Surfer. So, hoping this gives me something different. Also, we're still with the Hero 8, so if anybody knows where my GoPro Hero 13 might be, let me know. If anybody has ideas, where would I have left the GoPro? That's the question. Man, I'm surprised at this ride so far. I feel like I shouldn't be surprised, but I am. Yeah, I'm surprised how firm this PIBA feels. I guess it's my fault for thinking it would be soft, but so far does not really feel anything like the foam in the Cloud Boom Zone and the Cloud Boom Strike, which was my hope. So maybe it'll break in. But it's not bad. Nice rocker. It's just very firm. It's just ironic because On's entire positioning is around soft. They're literally doing a campaign right now called Soft Wins. And none of these shoes are particularly soft, other than the Cloud Boom Strike. You know, that's a great shoe. But we got some miles to go, so I'll give this a chance. Potentially break in. Also feels like if I push the pace some, I might get more juice. Mile 1 was an 8:02. I'm now scooting more. Getting down to 6:57, Feels better down here. Definitely wants you to put something into it. It's a super trainer for the suburbs. You will be the first one in the school pickup line when you put these bat boys on. Going sub 3 seconds to the coffee pickup counter from the lazy boy in the coffee shop. Samantha, boom, sub 3. She don't even get to the part of Samantha. You're already there, picking up that old latte. On the real though, I actually heard this shoe was designed for the 100K. You have to be making 100K or more to buy it. Mile 2, 7:15. I'm telling you, man, this is not bad at all. It's definitely on the firmer side, but the rocker is super nice. On has been making nice rockers for a long time. And then this is Piba. This is real Piba. It's tuned firmer, but man, the bounce is great. As I'm getting down 730 or below, I don't even know if I'd call it bounce, but the roll forward combined with the pop is awesome. It's weirdly aggressive. Yeah, I'm down at 655 right now. It very much reminds me of the Evo SL. So taking this downhill here, the impact absorption is really good. This feels like it would be a great bigger runner shoe, or if you want something supportive that's still fast, because this does have some serious torque. If you want to get it going, you can get this thing going. And then this is where the CloudTech units are actually showing their benefit. Just taking this downhill here, they take away a lot of that impact. Yeah, this is good for what it is. I was thinking it was going to be softer because the top layer of Piba, it's definitely not a soft shoe, but this series has never been, and the classic On shoes have never been. So this is a nice evolution for On. Mile 6, 706. You want the Mike Tyson blow to the face. Mile 8, 725. Last push. You want to be an average runner? Go ahead and listen to that Garmin. Not me. We're pushing, baby. Man, that's another big dog run right there. I didn't have much to say. I was just trying to save all my energy just to get through it. It is hot again. Oh my goodness. But that's the thing, bro. On some of these days when we want to rest and are not feeling it, coming out here and just stacking the mileage. Look at that, 13 miles, 727 pace, fighting for that daily pace in the heat, 147 heart rate. It's probably about 85 right now with the humidity, probably pushing it up into the feels like 90. It is warm. It is warm. But guess what? Because I got 13 right now, oh gosh, it's a hornet just coming out of nowhere, or a wasp. But because I got 13 right now, I don't need to double today, and I don't need to run tomorrow. And Charlie's been doing half marathon training. She's probably not going to want me to say that, but she's training. She's training. She's putting in the work. So Saturday is her long run day. Now I can take this afternoon off, get everything done that I need to get done, and be chill tomorrow. So would you look at that? And this is the thing, man, with training and everything, just getting the mileage and sequencing the workouts and everything, that is just one piece of it. For me, the other piece is, can I live my life the way I want to? So if that means occasionally getting some suboptimal training so I could spend more time with my family, so be it, so be it. Alice is talking about keyboard warriors in their feeling, and of course, as soon as I pop out here, they roll back. She said they're sleeping. No Charles cameo today. She want a Mike Tyson blow to the face. Yeah, that Pusha T album's got me feeling like I got a vendetta. That's what I was saying. I can't listen to that unless I just need to be upset or something. But we got the On Cloudflow 5, or should I call it the Cloud Blow 5, since we're listening to the clips today. This is actually a really good looking shoe. I like this On design language. Everything about this is a nice update too. I was saying this with the Hurricane 25 earlier this week. Saucony has put in a lot of effort this year into actually updating their shoes or improving them. When we hear the word update, we think improvement, but that's not always the case. A lot of the time with the shoes, it's just changing something to make it different. It's not necessarily going to be better just because you have a higher number, but brands have to design or update the products to sell them. It's the issue with the iPhone sometimes, right? What's the difference between the iPhone 14 and 15? Yeah, occasionally they'll do a faster chip, but that's not an every year thing. A lot of the time with these updates, especially with the more standard shoes, they're just changing minor things. But this is a legitimate update. I would have never considered running in the Cloudflow 4. I actually have no idea what that thing even looked like. This is the Cloudflow 5. Main thing is they put the big top layer of Piba foam, which is the entire reason why I bought this shoe. Nobody asked me to review this. That sounds like I'm saying a disclaimer. Nobody reviewed this. No, that's not what I mean. No hobby joggers out there were typing in the comments, where's the Cloudflow 5 review? No, this was just one that I thought was cool and interesting, and I wanted to see what it would be like to run in a more standard shoe with Piba. It's really cool that On is doing this, and they have not transformed this into a crazy Super Blast killer banger, a crazy Brooks Hyperion Max 3. No, they haven't done that. It still does feel like a classic On shoe, which is not a bad thing. There's 100% a place for a shoe like this on the market. It feels supportive. It feels stable. It's got a really nice geometry, and it's cool that they've done this, right? So that's the main thing with the shoe. Let's do up the run. We got 13 miles. I actually I did a 0.1. I just wanted to get it the full half marathon, 13.1, because sometimes you just got to let them know, right? A lot of people cracking jokes about how I was struggling through my run yesterday. Guess what? I got 35 miles in 2 days. You want to know something else? Look at this. Everyone want to talk about what the Garmin says. My Garmin says, you can't even see it. It says 102.2 miles. That's the weekly mileage, and it's only Friday. Yuck. Yeah, we got 13.1 miles in this thing. The reason I went longer today, I went 14 yesterday morning, 8 in the afternoon, and then 13 this morning. But that means Garmin is telling me to rest and sleep yesterday. That means I can now rest and I can now sleep. I don't have to run this afternoon. I don't have to run tomorrow. I'm going to hang out with Reevesy. We might get the little helicopter sprinkler going this afternoon. We might play some water t-ball this afternoon. I might take the kids out for some cinnamon buns tomorrow, maybe. Maybe not, because we also have a birthday party that we have to go to at 9:30. But it means I can rest, I can sleep, I don't even have to run tomorrow, which is a beautiful thing. I've been trying to do that more this year, eliminate the Saturday run. I like running every day. Matter of fact, I love running every day, but it's nice to have one day where I don't have to wake up and be stressed about getting my miles, and especially because I already have the stress of having to do the daily videos. Anyway, half marathon in the Cloudflow 5. This was extremely solid. Now, I was expecting it to be softer given the Cloud Boom Zone and the Cloud Boom Strike, and I actually felt like I didn't talk about that enough in the front half of the video. I was talking more about the standard On training shoes and the Hyper, but the Cloud Boom Strike is one of the best marathon shoes out there, man. It's comfortable, it's soft, it's bouncy. It's fallen out of the top 5, the power rankings recently, just because so much good stuff has come out recently, but it's a cusper for sure. It's a really good shoe. I've leaned more toward the faster, aggressive shoes personally, but it still is one of the best shoes out there. A great Cielo X1 1.0 or Cielo X1 OG replacement if you miss that soft, bouncy, relatively stable feel. It is narrower than the Cielo was, but totally awesome shoe. I love it, and it is very soft with that top insole layer. So I was expecting that from this, and I just want to say this right now. Not every shoe needs to be soft. I do recognize that there's a place for firm shoes on the market, but in the marketing copy for this, they were talking about how it uses the same foam as the Cloud Boom Strike. So with those expectations, I was thinking this was going to be a lot softer. It is not a soft shoe whatsoever. It's firmer than the Boston 12 or Boston 13. Firm, probably just about as firm as a fresh pair of Boston 12, but firmer than the 13, firmer than the Evo SL, way firmer than the Saucony Endorphin Speed 5. However, great impact absorption, man. This is the Cloud Tech at its best. This is what I liked about the Cloud Stratus and the Cloud Monster. When you have the Cloud Tech units that collapse, especially in the back here, man, when I was going down the hills, it was just taking away all the impact. And then when I was getting more up on the forefoot and running with strength, which I was doing for a fair bit of this run, I mean, I was very steady right at 730, which in this heat, fatigued, on tired legs, that's not bad. Really good shoe for what it is. So if you like a firmer ride, if you more so enjoy those standard shoes, the old school Pegasus shoes, the Saucony ride, I think some people are going to like this. A lot of the new super trainer shoes, the high-tech category of shoes, are trending more toward soft stacks of foam, which I like. I love the Hyperion Max 3. That's softer than the 2. I love the Mag Max, which is a big cruiser bouncy shoe. This is not a Mag Max competitor, but I love the Saucony Endorphin Speed 5, very soft. If you find those shoes too soft and mushy, this is gonna be great, man. Now, another thing, and another reason why I wanted to try it, it does have that classic On construction where you have the Cloud Tech units and then the plastic plate here, or the speed board. And On was one of the first to use the speed board. Originally, they started using it just to stabilize the foam so that the Cloud Tech units would have something to grasp onto and it wasn't getting too mushy. There's some implementations of it where it just feels unnecessary, and that they've actually started dropping it, right? That's why they've started dropping it. It's not totally necessary. Cloud Monster Hyper, that thing ditched the speed board. That is non-plated. With this, they've brought it back. I don't think it needs it, but it would also lose that classic On feel. It does have a nice responsive feel in the front. It has some good pop and some good stiffness in the front. I could totally run a workout in this. It felt similar to what a Boston 12 might feel. So there's a lot of elements of this that are really good. And thinking about the spirit of this shoe, this is not the Cloud Monster Hyper 2. This is not the Cloud Monster 3. So thinking about the spirit of the shoe and who buys this, it still has that more classic On feel, which is a good thing. Not every shoe needs to be for everybody. So for people who've bought the Cloudflow 4, again, I never tried it, but just from knowing what I know about the Cloud Stratus 2, which is more of a max cushion version of something like this, it still feels very similar. And if you liked the Cloud Stratus like I did, you might like this. So this is going to be a great pick for someone who likes the classic On feel. It's also cool that they are bringing more tech into this segment, into this more standard everyday shoe segment. So people who are buying the shoe, perhaps maybe it's just for the fashion or just because they like the way it looks, they now get the PIBA foam, and that's a cool thing. So not the softest shoe out there. It is expensive at $180, but for what On is doing with it, it's a nice update. It's a nice upgrade from a more standard shoe. I will give it a thumbs up. And if we just look at these splits one more time, I was able to go out there and put it through a serious run, right? 13 miles at a 7:30 pace. That's a good effort. That's a nice training run. And this felt like a solid training partner. I personally prefer a slightly softer feel in my training shoes like this, but not bad at all. If I were still in a phase of liking firmer daily trainers, or I just like the firmer daily trainer, this would be a really good pick. And the thing is, like I was saying, man, a lot of these shoes are now trending away from firmness. There are not very many options out there that have a big rocker like this in a firmer feel with the race foam, right? So if you want the race foam, it's almost like you have to go to a slightly softer shoe. I actually found the Evo SL wasn't super soft, and I think there's a lot of variation within those, but if you like something like the Evo SL, maybe you found the Evo SL too mushy, bang. So let's go through those 3 questions that we always ask and answer on these first round reviews. First, how does this do versus its intended purpose? Now, this is designed to be an everyday running shoe with additional bounce, response, fun. It does a nice job. And you got to think about what the franchise of the Cloudflow is. And I joke a lot about the last gen Ons. You gotta watch out for the people wearing the last gen Ons. By the way, I saw on the Supwell app yesterday, somebody proposed to their girlfriend. He was wearing a pair of Super Blast and she was wearing a pair of Ons. I think that was the first wedding or engagement announcement we've ever seen on the Supwell app. It was just hilarious. So Super Blast and On, the Super Blast Cabal and the last gen Ons, they're uniting now. I wonder what their kid is gonna wear when they start having babies. Probably a New Balance. But yeah, Cloudflow, a more traditional series of shoes. It's not a complete departure from that. It's a nice update. It's a nice evolution. So it does a nice job at the intended purpose. Question number 2, though, how does it compare to the other shoes in the category? I'm not exactly sure what shoes to compare it to, because this has been traditionally more of, I almost want to say lifestyle shoe, but a shoe that people buy who aren't going to put a ton of miles on. So a shoe like this, someone might just want an On. It's almost like a Clifton, where you want a sneaker that's comfortable to do the job. It's how some people use the Vomero, right? So out of this category of shoes, if you're just going in and saying, man, I don't care, I'll spend up to $200 on a pair of shoes. I want something simple that's going to get the job done, that I can go order my oat milk latte in, that I can go rush around to school pickup in, that I can go take to the gym. This is one of the better ones in that category for speed, right? For speed. So if we look at that competitive set, Clifton, Vomero, even a Nimbus type of shoe, this is a cool pick because you do get the race foam and you do get the plate. This would be my personal preference if I wanted something high performing out of that category. Now, if we look at the price point and evaluate it that way, $180, that's roughly the same price as the Speed 5, $5 more expensive than the Speed 5, same price as the Mag Max. Starts to make a little less sense there, but what you have to keep in mind is that this shoe is designed to be more of a do-it-all shoe than any of those. Mag Max is more specialized, and again, if you like that firmer feel, I do think this could be that do-it-all shoe. It doesn't feel too weird. Yes, it's on the stiffer, more rigid side, but felt nice for, I was going to say the variety of paces, but felt nice for my normal daily pace, which is what this is usually going to be designed to do. If you're buying one shoe like this, you're normally just going to be going out there and running, and then it will be good for walking. So it's not a crazy banger. It's not an Evo SL killer. It's not a Super Blast killer, but for the On buyer, if you want something out of the On range, this is a decent pick. Now, other shoes in the On range that you could get instead of this, Cloud Monster Hyper, that's definitely more of a comfort-oriented pick if you're willing to spend the extra money, or if you can find it on a deal, because the Hyper has been on deals sub 170, sub 160 for a while now. So that's a really great pick if you want something for long run training. Oh gosh. There's spiders on my legs. Yeah, if you want something for long run training, more of the Hyper. This does not feel like the most comfort-oriented shoe for the marathon, but again, if you're training for your first 5K, first 10K, and you want something out of the online, bada boom, bada bang. I also just think it looks really good. On gets a lot of flack for the, it's funny, right? Because they don't get a lot of flack because people like them for the design, but then they do get a lot of flack just because of the holes. But I think this looks really nice, and solid for what it is. Question number 3, how does this compare to everything else in the market? 180, it does feel steep for this if you're looking at everything else. It's not the best deal. On always puts a $10 to $20 or even more price premium on this. I think they actually have more of like a 10% price premium. So this would probably be 160 compared to a different brand, and look at Boston 13, that's 160, right? So you are going to be paying the On price premium for this. It's not the best value shoe on the market. It's not the best performing shoe on the market, but if you like that classic On feel with the firmer construction, that snap off the forefoot, really good build quality, put together well, then I think you'll like this. So not the softest, I think is different than what I was expecting given the PIBA, but still a really solid ride. And I got the 13 miles. That was my plan the whole time, but if this was bad, I probably would have cut at 8. So very solid shoe. I can give this a thumbs up. I will give it a A- for what it is. Probably a a B compared to everything on the market. If you like firmer shoes though, this could be an A for you. It really is a solid shoe. I like what On's doing with their new shoes. I really like that they're adding PIBA into a more standard shoe. I hope more brands will try that out. What if Nike started putting some real PIBA in the Pegasus, right? That could be cool. So, nice job, On. We're getting played out by the sun here. All right, that's all I have for you today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Yeah, this thing looks pretty sick. It really does. Something about the On design language, it makes me laugh, but I can also appreciate it. It's a super trainer for the burbs, baby.